looks a picture-perfect existence. On the mountaintop plateau of Africa's oldest nation stretches a land lost in time. But this is no place to be born a girl. She's not even 12, still a child, but today is her wedding day. This terrified young girl is being forced into a marriage she knows nothing about to a man she's never met. In northern Ethiopia, it's common practice. Tradition in parts of Ethiopia demands that girls are sold into marriage before they reach puberty. Their husbands are usually at least 21. Child brides may well be part of the accepted culture here, but it breaks your heart knowing how these little girls are about to suffer.
All our little girls have been through a tremendous ordeal, 5, 6 days, up to 10 days of labour. And the only reason they finally deliver is because the baby's dead inside them. She's got a baby.
Yes.
How's the baby?
In Ethiopia, Catherine Hamlin is considered a saint.
I'll give her some Maxilon now in the drip.
This Australian gynaecologist runs Africa's only specialist hospital dedicated to treating these young women, pubescent wives who've given birth to babies too big for their tiny bodies.
So while you were pushing, you pushed a big hole in your bladder. And if you look at this bit of paper, you'll see the big hole.
The stress of childbirth rips these young bodies apart. They're left incontinent and inevitably will be outcasts unless they find Catherine.
And all the urine's coming down through the kadada, through the hole, all under the floor. See? Now the good news is that we're going to be able to mend it. You look at this bit of paper, just a few stitches and it'll all be mended. And then we're going to send you home in a beautiful new dress in 3 weeks. I had one woman, she was 40 years dripping urine. She was 60 when she came to me. She had her one and only baby at 20. And she said to me, I've been sitting alone for 40 years. And she was a very simple operation. We cured her in 12 days. And she kissed my shoes and she said, look, I love you next to God. But she said, to think I've lost all those years when I could have been cured. And I didn't know that I could be cured.
Every day, quietly and unannounced, they arrive at Catherine's hospital, alone in the world and telling stories like 15-year-old Nazvesh's. When you got married, how old were you?
I was 6 years old when I got married. My husband began sleeping with me when I was 9.
And how old is your husband?
I don't know his age, but he is a very big man.
After a 5-day labour, Nazvesha delivered a stillborn baby, only to be deserted by her husband because the tear in her womb left her incontinent.
They're completely outcast just because of this one thing that's gone wrong in their labour. We tried to admit as many as we can at once because they've made a journey from the country. Often they've had to sell an animal, a cow or a sheep, to get the bus fare, or they've even just begged.
What was it like 40 years ago?
Oh, it's very few cars, or nothing like it is now.
It's perhaps the last place you'd expect to find a 77-year-old Australian grandmother, but dirty and bustling Addis Ababa has been her home now for 40 years.
I want to buy some material for the hospital.
For the dresses and
Yes.
for the girls?
It was 1959 when Catherine and her husband Reg arrived here. Both gynaecologists, they'd left Australia looking for adventure and intending to stay for 3 years. 40 years on, you're still here. Why did you stay?
We started to get these little patients coming down from the country who were leaking urine because of their injuries as a result of their obstructed labours. And we were very touched by their plight. And the previous gynecologist had said to us, look, the fistula patients will break your heart. You can't really do anything to help them. And so we were determined to try to do what we could.
By 1975, Catherine and Reg had opened their own hospital. Their 18-month stay had turned into a lifetime's work. Through war, famine and communist uprising, they kept the hospital operating.
You better have a drip put in, sister, I think. A lot of our friends were imprisoned and a lot of them killed. And we saw a lot of shooting in the city and dead bodies lying about.
During those upheavals, did you ever think we should just pack up and go back to Australia?
No, we never thought that. We thought, well, we'll just stick it out and things will get better.
Catherine has helped more than 20,000 women, but while her skills can transform their lives, there's little she can do to stop a centuries-old practice. For many Ethiopian girls, school is over almost before it begins. Most will marry by 15, some will be as young as 6. Life for young women in rural Ethiopia is just plain tough.
Come. And look at this.
Oh, shoot the flies.
They can't chew all these flies, no water, no soap. What future?
What future? And what age do you think these girls will get married?
Maybe 8 or 9.
Eleni Mokria has spent years campaigning for an end to early marriages. It's an almost impossible fight. Men are desperate to find a wife because only then are they allowed to own land.
So she has these 3 and she's 25 years old. I asked her, did you choose your husband or was he forced on you? Said he was forced on me.
I'm glad she can laugh about it.
Yes, man.
Poor thing.
I know quite a fun.
So do 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds want to get married?
They don't want to get married. They don't have an idea that it's even happening. It's rape because they are not ready for it. This is my explanation. But traditionally, though maybe not amongst the educated few, a woman's body belongs to her husband.
If there is oppression in the church, we don't follow it in the way we follow it.
Officially, the all-powerful Ethiopian Orthodox Church is against early marriage. But in reality, particularly in the country, it's encouraged. Poor, rural families are told their daughters must marry young to remain pure and avoid becoming promiscuous.
A lot of our traditional priests believe that a girl's body develops faster than a boy's body. So they believe that if a little girl isn't married before she's 15, she has a lot of problems to face and she's a problem to her parents because she needs, the physical need that she has to be met. This is what they believe.
Are you ever frustrated by a culture that sees such young girls getting married?
Yes, we are, but unless we can educate the women, this will go on. And education is a tremendous need for girls especially.
Can you really imagine making a dent on the tradition of this country?
I think so. I think that we will in time, but I don't know whether it'll be in my lifetime. And then we're going to take a fat graft from this side here.
Catherine still operates with lightning speed 3 days a week, and in between she battles to raise the funds to keep the hospital going.
You could have had such a different life, Catherine. You could have been a wealthy gynaecologist in Australia.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm just lucky to be here.
Do you ever yearn for that sort of life?
No, I don't. I love my work here.
Reg Hamlin died in 1993, yet Catherine believes he's never far from her side. she's continuing their life's work. At the hospital they built, no one is ever turned away and no fees are charged.
So you're really relying on the charity of others?
Yes, we do. We can't charge any fees because these women are just to bring a bag of oranges, or one came the other day with a chicken and she just landed up in the office and put the chicken on the desk and said, "This is a present for you." And it was so amusing. We said, "Well, we'll eat the chicken tomorrow," but the chicken laid an egg that night and so we kept it.
15-year-old Fatima is one of the rare few whose baby survived, but the 4-day labour has left terrible physical and mental scars.
How do you feel now about your baby?
I don't really like the baby. The only thing I feel happy about is being cured.
Fatima, Kadich and Kasu have spent the last 6 weeks in Catherine's care. Now they're preparing to go home.
What would have happened to you if you hadn't come to this hospital?
I would rather have died. I lay crying in a wet bed for 5 years and didn't have any hope at all.
This is my special. She's had 2 operations and she's cured. We give them this new dress to make them feel they're starting a new life. And the sash, that doesn't go. It's very important for their morale to make them feel they're going back to a fresh start.
Although she knows that sometime soon someone will have to take her place, Catherine just can't stop. The need is too great, but then so are the rewards.
Now we're very excited to see you all going home looking so beautiful in your lovely new dresses. When you get home, everyone will come out and there'll be a great feast, and there'll be dancing and everyone will be happy. It's an exciting thing to see them going home happy. That gives me joy, and I always think, well, we're the fortunate ones because we can see the result of our labours. And I love being here, and I go on leave, and I love going to see my families, of course, but I often feel I must get back to Ethiopia because that's really my home now.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.